Hello Boxhead Paper Crafters, here we are with the instruction video for the football, the little football ball and pitch with posts, stand for your little football paper craft character. So we've obviously got to print this out and craft it. There's all sorts of different coloured footballers on my website that you can buy. And this comes along with each of those. So let's get cutting. So straight in there, and what we're going to do is we're going to separate the pitch from the posts so that we've not got lots of paper sort of flapping around when we're doing all those slightly trickier cuts that you can see for the posts. So we've got a nice straight line all the way along there for the pitch. Let's move the paper around the scissors so we can cut along that little tab. And then off the edge of the paper, and we'll leave our posts to cut out a little bit later while we cut out the rest of the pitch here. So you can see trying to keep those scissors nice and straight and moving the paper around the scissors with our left hand, with our non-cutting hand, moving any rubbish bits that we don't need out of the way. Nice long straight cuts there. We're not closing the scissors up. That'd leave a bit of a mark, a bit of a pucker on the edge of our paper. Just keeping those cuts nice and smooth. And that was obviously a little bit trickier, and that's why I've just cut off the edge there, and then I can look at that. That was pretty straightforward and easy, doing it that way. But I'm sure you'll find your own sort of cutting style as you, the more paper toys that you cut, the more practice you get with cutting paper toys out, the better. Let's move that little bit of rubbish out to the side so we don't get it confused with bits we need. Just cutting around those little tabs there that'll tuck into sort of where that number bit is. That's where they get stuck around the back of that number bit. But we'll get to that in a bit. Now, just where those scissors are, you can see there's a couple of crosses. See where my thumb is there? There's a cross there and there's a cross up the other side. That's the cut marks where the posts are going to slot in. And we'll get to how you cut those out in a bit. But first of all, we'll just finish off cutting around the sort of the edge of the stand there. And again, we'll cut in on that bit, and then we'll move the scissors around and cut out that last little bit that we don't need. And, actually we'll get back to cutting those bits out a bit later. We're cutting out the posts now. So what you can do is you can cut out those really nice long bits and cut them off into sort of 4 sections. So here we've got our first section. It makes sort of, now that you've not got that big bit of paper flapping around, it makes cutting out those little bits a lot easier. So we can cut around there. And down along there, and then keep our scissors nice and straight and move the paper around so we get that nice smooth curve. Just like that again. And then we'll cut out around those tabs and get them around the edge there. Around there, move the paper and then make your cut. Now the posts are pretty much exactly the same, but I will go through each of them, so you know sort of like how much time it takes. An A4 sheet of paper in general for one of my Boxhead Papercraft toys takes about 30 minutes to cut, fold and stick together. There's no rush. You can take longer if you like. You can do it in stages. You can cut it out, then go and have a cup of tea or a bite to eat, and then come back and do the folding, and then come back the next day and stick it all together, or you can get it all done in one go. It's entirely up to you. Nearly finished cutting out that second post there. Again, moving that paper around the scissors rather than sort of twisting your hands around with the scissors. Oh, we've just gone off screen a little bit there. There we go, I'm back on there. Just cutting out that last little bit. There's the last little bit there. There you go, there you can see that. And there's another little bit there as well. Just trimming around that curved bit there. There's our second post. So we've just got our third and final post and the ball to cut out as well. See, I've just cut straight down there so I don't have to cut the tricky flaps of the football all in one go. I can cut this post out and leave the football till later. And we'll just cut those little fiddly bits of the tabs for the post. Just trim those bits off. And the same on the other side as well. You can see those fold lines there that we'll get to a little bit later on. So that we get some nice three-dimensional football posts. Let's keep a nice tidy workbench. Get rid of any little bits of rubbish. And so that's all our posts cut out. So now we'll cut out the ball, which looks quite tricky actually, but it's just lots of sort of little cuts more than anything. And if you stay focused on where those cut lines are and follow along with the video, then I'm sure, and take your time as well. Take your time is the most important thing with any stage of this. I'm sure you'll get all those little cuts worked out. So we've got this cut here, which will make a second tab, and then we've got sort of like a square with rounded corners for the ends of the football, and we're just cutting the third tab on either side, because each one of those tabs will go on each side of the football. You'll get what I mean when we start to fold the football round in a bit. But same on the other side, we've got to do a few shortcuts, sort of little tricky cuts. Again, moving that paper around rather than trying to sort of like twist and bend our scissors around the cuts. Move the paper around the scissors, not the scissors around the paper. There we go, around the other side of the football there, trim that off. Get rid of that bit of rubbish, we don't need that. And then trimming around the other side of the football. Careful not to go all the way through the football there, otherwise we'll have to stick an extra bit, stick those bits back together. And that's it, don't worry if you do make a little error or a mistake. You can always use some tape if you need to stick those bits back together. But like I say, if you take your time, and if you practice lots, then you'll start to find the paper toys getting better and better. Okay, there's our football all cut out. And you can see on that nice little close-up there, you can see there's those sort of fold lines, the dotted lines, the outlined rectangles. And so really simple, all you need to do is just bend those over. And those are going to be tucked on the inside of the football anyway. Now I've got one on the end there. And that's just basically sort of, that doesn't get folded, that just gets used to as a part to stick the end of the football around. But you can see sort of like the longest part of the football just bends around those rectangles. So you can see sort of, we're going to match up the one end with the other, so that it's sort of like a loop It's difficult to put into words, but hopefully the pictures are helping. And then all those tabs, you can see you've got 3 tabs on the inside there. They get stuck to or get tucked in and are used to help support the sticky bit. Now it can get a bit fiddly there, especially if you've got big chunky fingers like me. But eventually, once you've sort of like moulded the paper a little bit, then you get to a stage where you can get some tape, and then you can start to get that. I mean, it's not a round football as such, but it's as close to round as sort of you can get with a bit of paper, other than scrunching it up, I suppose. But this way, we get a nice we can get a nice pattern on the football, and it sort of fits in with the style of the paper toy footballer that you'll have created or are about to create. So there we go. We've got one side there. You can see there. I'm just gonna sort of open that up again. Actually, just peel the tape that we peel off the tape that we put in there before, because I've got a bit too much of a gap. So I'm gonna put a little bit of extra tape on there just to fill that gap, just so that that loop matches up, and I've got no gaps that go where you can see the inside of the football. And that will also help on the other side there. So we've got all the tabs on the inside, a little bit of tape. Same as one half of the tape on one side, on one edge, and then we can just bend it round to the other side. And there we go, there's our football, all stuck together. Okay, we're on to the posts. So you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 folds to make. 4 folds to make, or 5? There's the second one. There's the third one and the fourth one. And you'll notice we've actually got sort of 5 sides to each of the posts. Well, it's not actually a 5th side, it's the tab that slips inside of the post. And we've got some tabs on the top ends as well, so that sort of the post gets all filled up. And if you bend those all round and you tuck one of those 5 sides on the inside, you'll end up with 4, but you'll end up with a nice firm, sturdy football post. And that's actually going to be the crossbar on our goal posts. So we get a nice long bit of tape, or you can have 2 or 3 bits of tape along there, and then those bits are going to tuck in on either side. Yes, they are there. We're not going to tape those just yet, because we're going to put some tape on when we stick them to the upright posts, which I'm starting to fold now. So again, same thing. There's 5 long folds, so that we've got the face of each post. But then we've got a tab that'll tuck inside to make the posts nice and sturdy. Now with these ones, you can see we've got a little fold at the top on that side, and then we've got 2 folds at the bottom there. Again, that's to just fill in any gaps, but we've folded it all the way around. So we get 4 sides, and then our 5th side is that tab that goes on the inside of the post. Get a little bit of tape and take it round. Now you can see there, that was that little fold that just tucks in, and then we get a sort of like a little curved bit on the end of our upright post, unlike that end, which is just sort of flat, if you like, sort of square. You'll see in a bit, I'll turn it round, and there you can see it goes with the curve. That is our second post. And hopefully we'll get a different view, or a better view, as I'm folding this one together. See how the ends on the left hand side there's a bit of a curve to them. They're going to be sort of like the top corner of the posts. There's that little tab that tucks in, for the curve on the corner of the post. Again, those tabs will fold over each other, and that fifth side will fold inside the post. That tab just tucks in there. A little bit of tape on there, and we get a nice sort of bit of a curve to the edge of our post. Bit of tape on the very bottom of the post there, and that's all three of our posts stuck together. So we've got the two end posts the right way around, and then we've got our crossbar, which sits in the middle there. Okay, so you can see what we need to do is stick those posts together. Nice little bit of tape on the top there, but just like we did with, I don't know whether you've done the boots and the ball yet, but we need a bit of tape on the inside as well, so that or on the outside there. It's pretty tricky. You put the tape on where you feel that you need it to make the posts nice and secure. But I've got it on the top there and on both sides. Just bend that tape in and over and around, and you get a nice right angle on your where your upright post meets the crossbar. Same on this side as well. Half the tape on one side, and then we can move our post into where it needs to go. Same on the other side as well. It's really handy having that tape dispenser there when you're doing some tricky sticking like we're doing here. But there you go, there's the posts. Now you'll notice that the posts, the upright part of the post, look really long. They don't look like your standard set of football posts. Well, that's because they're going to get stuck into these bits here on the pitch. Now I've got a little bit more cutting to do where I showed you those X's. And what you need is, rather than cutting straight onto the table, because we're actually going to be cutting with a craft knife, rather than cutting marks into the table, I've got a little craft board that I use, but you can maybe use a thick bit of cardboard that's not going to mark the table at all when you cut on it. I'm coming back with my craft board in a bit. I'll be there soon. Hold on, the video's not paused. I'm just taking my time with my cutting board, and I will also be getting a cutting knife. Oh, here it comes. There it is. There's the craft board. Now, if you've never used a craft knife before, or you'd rather you think it's best that an adult should do this, then we're just making 4 little cuts. We've got 1 cut there along the X. Same on the other X as well. And this is where we're going to push the posts through these X's, through these crosses. That's all we need the craft knife for now. So we can get rid of the craft board as well. And you can see there that the posts are going to push through. Just take your time, nice and gentle, but they'll push through those cuts that we've got. I'll show you the other side in a bit where the posts have gone through to. Once I've gently pushed through that one. And there you can see that the posts go all the way through the pitch there. And they'll go through. Oh, we're going to take them out for now because we're going to stick the pitch together. We've got to fold it up first and then put some tape on it as well. So we get a nice sort of, the pitch and the post make a nice raised platform for our paper toy football character. Fold the ends over there, and those little tabs which are going to tuck in on the inside of the ends where the numbers are. Okay, now those tabs will go in there because we're going to bend the edges of the paper around the football. around the football. We're going to bend the edges of the paper around the ends. Now we can do it freehand like that. We can just sort of gently curl and curve the paper around, or I think this is where I get myself a pencil. You can roll it around a pencil. There we go. So I'll show you with this side. If you put the pencil right at the, oops, where have I gone? There it is. Right at the edge there, you can bend the paper and roll it around the pencil. Now you might find that you get a few sort of extra creases and marks if you roll it around the pencil, but it is a bit easier than sort of trying to do it freehand. It'll give you a nice curve. See that tab tucks in there. Then we can curve the paper around the curve that we've got at the end there, where the number and the Box Ed's Papercraft name is. So a little bit of tape on that corner, and we can just tuck the tab in at the other end. There we go, you can just about see it going off camera a bit, but there we go, you can see where the tape goes and it bends around there. And we can just sort of fiddle with the paper a little bit on the edge there to get it a little bit smoother. But that's how it's going to stand up. We'll do the other side as well. So tuck that tab inside and bend the paper around that end curve. The tape to keep the sides together and secure. And the same on our fourth and final corner. And just bend it around a little bit more, but there you go. You'll see you've got your nice stand for your paper toy in as a football pitch. You can see it's a sort of penalty box, penalty spot, and those posts will slot in nicely into those holes that we cut out earlier. There we go, just slot them in and push them down, and then I'll turn it around and you can see they look a little bit more, there you go, you can see how they go all the way through to the bottom of the base and the stand. And there you go. Oh, hit the post. Let's try again. Oh, hit the post. Hey! And there's your paper toy stand. Now I think we've got a little paper toy player who fits perfectly on. Oh, yeah, perfectly on. Hello. Fits perfectly on his stand there, and you can see, and you'll see in the pictures how well that looks. Thank you very much. Happy crafting.